Welcome to Chimborazo. One of our very first deals we ever did in real estate was half a block away. It was 604 Chimborazo. It was a house that I'll start with that because it was a house we intended to flip, and it was about at least 10 years ago. And we went to sell it. We tried to sell it for $190,000 or $180 or $70, whatever it was. We couldn't get it sold, so we started renting it. Rented it for 10 years, and then we sold it about 2 years ago.
It was actually 13 years ago.
13 years ago, she said. It was, yeah, for a whole lot more, right? And so sometimes your real estate deals, you have one plan, and that doesn't work out, and you sort of stumble, and then the long-term plan works out a lot better. But back then, this block was rough. It was very rough because like the Chimborazo market over there was a hangout, and it wasn't pretty. And I remember our kids were in like junior high school, and I remember my daughter Carissa working in the backyard, helping me trim up the backyard 13 years ago. And I was like, don't leave this yard, right? Is that true? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So we've been on Chimborazo a long time, and I've seen the results of the gentrification that people like Daniel have created here. And this deal here came to me from a wholesaler. So wholesalers that send us deals, we greatly appreciate it. I walked up and saw a for sale by owner sign on the window. I've driven by this many times, never noticed it, but he did. He got the deal and sold it to us. We paid, I think, $197 or $200, and I knew I wanted it, and so I texted Daniel about the deal also many times. So I appreciate your insight into the current market here as well. So I came. The basement it had a little bit of mold in it. I'll just say that on video. And there was a squatter living in the basement in a bed, and there were active leaks from the plumbing that had never been de-winterized, and that was the result of the mold. That was the cause of the mold, rather. I came through this with the wholesaler and said, all right, I'll take it. I couldn't quite get to where he wanted. He reduced his price a little bit to help me out, and we closed with the plan of renting 3 apartments. There's an apartment in the basement. It's 1 bedroom. The middle floor here is 2 bedrooms, and upstairs is 3 bedrooms, correct? Mm-hmm. So then I brought Cheryl back like a week later, and you loved it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, what did you see here?
I mean, it's got the white picket fence. I mean, what do you say to that? Charm? Yes, yes.
And Cheryl likes to hold stuff.
Yeah.
And so this just seemed like a good fit.
Nice solid house. It's very roomy. Each floor has plenty of living space. You know, and it's a
I mean, I would
house.
love to have been able to like open up that wall right there, but we have constraints with ductwork and stuff like that. We're fully permitted here, by the way. So at this point, we've already been through, and I'll let Bill talk about that. He did a really good job managing permits here. We passed mechanical yesterday. So we've passed electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. We have a framing inspection for the basement on Tuesday. Then after that, we got to insulate it, call back the insulation, and then all of this will finish very quickly from there. It's like Daniel said, once you get past those trades, permits, everything's inside, it goes really quick.
Sorry, Jim, how much did you say you paid again?
Roughly, I think it was $197 or $200, something like that.
And what do they rent for?
Well, this is the thing. I've been consulting with my friend Daniel. It's the power of your network, guys. I mean, you need people that I need to consult with, and so Daniel, without seeing it, gave me some ballpark rents to go after if we renovate it nice, and we're going to put granite in each and so on. So it'll be really nice, but it'll be in the $4,000 a month range for the 3 units. So if you guys are quickly thinking like the 1% rule, did Jim hit the 1% rule? What do you think? Yeah, if I'm renting it for $4,000 a month or so, and I might be all in at $310 or whatever it is, the cash flow should be fine. Would you agree? Just kind of knowing that in the way the 1% rule. If I'm all in at $310, as long as I've got $3,100 a month coming in, I hit the 1% rule, which is just a ballpark anyways. From there, I actually did put the numbers into Rehab Valuator, Daniel, and used the software just to confirm some stuff, and it all seemed to cash flow pretty well. So I think it'll be fine. We're using Burr here. So I bought this with a private money loan from somebody's self-directed IRA. And that's what we're making payments on now. Once rented, I will be refining this with Town Bank. They're already aware of it. They want to start the process ASAP. I keep pushing them back a little bit. They're ready to refi. I don't think I'll have any problems getting a refi at the end.
You pulling everything out?
What's that?
Are you pulling everything out?
The whole
Basing
thing
your yeah, all your entire private money loan?
is, oh yeah, I'll get all my money back, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be a little bit over budget, so I'll probably end up with a little bit of my own money in it, but it'll be very little, I'm hoping. Yes, that's the idea, is to leverage other people's money as much as you possibly can, and then build your equity and cash flow that way. I'm very lucky my brother Bill's been managing this, because he's done a really good job working with the city of Richmond on permits and stuff like that. But there wasn't a lot of permitting on the upper 2 floors anyways. Like we did change outs on the HVAC. It used to be gas, we went to heat pump. So we had to do that. I had to do 3 panel boxes, so we did that on permit. I had a lot of plumbing leaks, like I mentioned in the basement, so all of the plumbing leaks was permitted, and you can talk more about that if you'd like.
Okay, Jim Barrazo, basically 3,000 square feet, so you can just look at it like each floor's, you know, we have a basement, a first and a second floor, so each one's about 1,000 square feet. You gotta watch it, you know, being a 3-family compared to a 2-family, it does go to commercial, so all the inspectors come through, it's a whole different grade, whole different ball of wax. Even our HVAC, where you see our supply air grills coming out here, we have to put magnesium link fire dampers in there. And again, it's just because you go from a 2-family to a 3-family. They come through, look at everything a lot different. Also, and it was news to me, this is a historical area. So, you know, we kind of jumped ahead and did some things and got away with it before they came through, and we'll see at the end, but you know, you gotta watch it with siding or anything, because they might want something different. Yeah, we can walk through here a little bit, and,
Bill, tell them about your idea for the bike hooks right there.
Earlier you said something about,
Go ahead.
you look at this differently.
The city does.
He said from a regular rehab.
Well,
to
what-
something that's
yeah.
buy and hold.
It's marginal because it's 3 units. Now, we're really fortunate, like I said, Bill's done a good job working with the city because they didn't require us to do things like fire suppression and sprinkler systems.
right.
I
But
think what
it
he's
was a
saying-
little tense there
I
for a
think
little
what he's
bit. Is that
saying
what you
is-
meant?
No, I think what he's saying is, he said that because this is a buy and hold
Instead
versus
of
a
a-
buy
Oh.
and sell,
Not
right
very much,
now,
a little.
you know, you might think some things differently, your thoughts might be a little bit different on
Right.
some things that you do.
Right.
You know,
That's just
decisions that you make.
for us, you know, our team, our company, the way we typically go, a buy and hold wouldn't be quite as deep. What I mean by deep is we might not dig as deep into the construction end, depending. The materials that are used are chosen a little bit different. Certainly durability, but you know, with the flip, it's also, there's different ARV levels. So Cheryl does a great job picking things out, and obviously for a $400,000 ARV, she's gonna pick out different vanities than a
Right.
rental.
Right,
So
right.
that's sort of what I mean
Right.
with that.
Finishes, really.
Now, with this
It's
being a
mostly-
higher end, you know, the area supports a nicer, you know, this is gonna be these are gonna be nice apartments, not like, you know, Trump product. But you know what I mean, they're gonna be nice, you're gonna walk and say, wow, this is really nice, and, you know, you're gonna be able to get a nice rent, you know, and.
So we're gonna have nice flooring and nice
Supports it, yeah.
lighting, a nice kitchen with new cabinets, brand new granite countertops, stainless steel appliances,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
You know, you know.
Because I want to
it's
max out
nice,
my
yeah.
rent, because Daniel's pulling all the rents up anyways.
So that's,
Exactly, exactly.
Guilty as charged.
So,
We're getting
Exactly.
1,200 for 1 bedrooms now,
Really? 1 bedroom, 1,200?
on the new construction product.
Wow.
So for something like this scale, this size, are you using one GC or are you managing different subs?
we manage different, a
subs.
lot of different people. It would be easier to use a turnkey GC. It would also be more expensive, and I
Yeah.
guess that's my job as a construction manager. So we use a lot of different tools, if you want to call them that, to come in, more individuals than one overseeing. We also design build as we go. Speed's very important to us, very important. And it's you know, the project Daniel's in with all the historical and everything, and having to bring in probably architects and engineers, I've seen blueprints there. It just would bog us down too much for things like this, to sit there and draw everything up, even on quarter-inch graph paper, and it's gonna change as we go.
Okay.
So it's what, and I come out of industrial construction also, and actually a lot of industrial construction, if you went to the big plants and factories, they call it design build, and skilled trades are going in there, and they're working out in the shop, out in the field with the engineers, like, can we do this, can you build that, is this,
Right,
yeah.
your pipe has to go.
Yeah,
your drawings
exactly.
say
Pipe-
it's off by
Right.
Welding, yeah.
they're gonna catch you and make you redo it. That's
Right.
that's the beauty of single family houses is
Right.
you really
It's
don't
easier.
need drawings,
Mhm.
especially if you're not doing, you know, if you're doing cosmetic renovations, you can roll.
Right.
It's great. It's great.
Exactly.
So what do you guys use to manage all your different contractors? That seems to be like our biggest pain in the butt.
I mean, we have systems, but we don't have like a package or a platform that we're using. Now, you've added some project management stuff to
We're adding
reevaluate.
project management stuff, but you know, I think getting subcontractors to adopt new technology is always challenging. So I mean, we use this.
Mhm.
Hey man, where are you? hey, oh, you texted me that you're at the job site. I'm at the job site. No, you're not. Yeah. No, I'm here now.
Sounds like you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, but, no, we're adding project management stuff, but that's really for in-house use, right? For managing bids, for storing transactions, for creating budgets. At some point, we're gonna create a technology platform where you can get your subcontractors on there. But I just see that being long-term being a challenge because we deal with some subcontractors that don't have email addresses.
Right,
Mhm.
same
They don't
here.
have email accounts.
Exactly.
You know,
Mhm.
you want him to email you a bid, good luck. He'll text you a number.
Yeah,
And so,
and an invoice.
right.
And want to be paid in 30
And
minutes.
at the end of the day, you want them to do what you want to do. You almost have to come to their level and deal with them how they're used to. Otherwise, you're just never going to hear back from them. So call them, text them.
I had one guy text me a whole bunch of, like, he went on Lowe's and he put everything in the shopping cart. He screenshot everything, which I told him, I was like, okay, that works for me. Item number, I sent it to Lowe's, I said, this is what I need. And as far as contractors showing up, sometimes I put a keypad, electronic key code. And
Smart
the night
lock.
before, I change it. So if he's gonna show up the next morning,
He'll call you.
the
get
code,
it.
and then so I don't say nothing. I waited till he showed up, how's the job going?
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's going good. I said, so I'm like,
you.
good for you. I said, I'll see you Friday to pay you. So then I don't say anything because this time I already have somebody lined up. So when I go pay him, he's like, this is short. I said, yeah, because you didn't show up this week. And he's like, but I did. I said, you're lying. Because I changed the code, and then he looks like,
Smart.
I mean, unfortunately you have to do that, but this is a, you know, it's a business.
It is.
What you expect?
Well, and as you get into bigger projects, you're going to deal with a better level of contractor, but you're going to pay more.
Yeah,
You know, you want a company, you want somebody that will show up and do what they say they're going to do every time, and won't need to be handheld. Yeah, they're out there. You're going to pay more. You know, so where you're used to bringing a project in at $50 a foot, you're gonna get sticker shock when all of a sudden it's costing you $70 a foot and your margins condense. But running the project becomes easier because you're dealing with professionals.
Exactly.
So everything's a trade-off.
So so then if you had a good funding source, you could scale probably better, providing the market had enough inventory?
Yeah, and at some point, you can't scale without using the better contractors, without using the more professional contractors, without using people that have, you know, we're right now on some of the bigger projects, we're using, you know, a carpenter that has 10 guys that work for him. You know, it's not a guy with a pickup truck that will show up and do it himself. You know, we have to use him because you can't do certain projects with 1 or 2 guys. So at some point you have to upgrade to a higher quality of person that you're dealing with, but they're going to cost you more.
the margins are getting tighter, so you got to watch it because materials are going up, labor is going up, economy is good. I mean, you're seeing that as well, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to be careful.
Construction costs have gone up faster than
Yes.
inflation, faster than home price appreciation, faster than My blood pressure. So,
Ah, it's real.
yeah, things have gotten expensive.
And we do labor only for all of our subs, and we supply all the materials.
Yep,
That's the way that we do it, and it works really well for us. So Cheryl does all the selections on lights, vanities, faucets, appliances, all that stuff, and Bill makes sure helps get all the framing, drywall, doors. We did the roof here also. We did the siding, the windows, all that stuff.
And stop buying things from Lowe's.
Really?
Except for if it's like little stuff.
Really?
I don't know about you guys. I barely get anything from Lowe's.
No, we buy
I
quite a bit of
deal with
miscellaneous stuff
supply
there.
houses.
Yeah.
Lumber, siding, windows, all the big stuff. Roofing, it's coming directly from suppliers. It's not coming from.
We
Yeah.
deal with Liberty Roofing for roofing
Mostly.
and windows.
Roofing, siding,
Mostly.
windows.
We
You
we
use
deal with
mid.
Ferguson, a lot of people do
Massey.
for.
Yeah. Massey's good.
Massey's good. ProBuild is good.
Cost is cheaper than Lowe's and Home Depot?
Yeah, get a sales guy.
It's
And,
easier.
and it's easier, yeah.
And it's
Our
delivered
products
directly
better.
to you.
Have you ever actually ordered anything from Lowe's for like delivery?
Yeah, they just stick it out.
How did that go for you?
They just stick it
Painful.
outside and the truck just leaves it off.
I've never once, you know.
It can be painful.
A pallet just sits
We
there.
have salespeople and they take care of us, right? So if I order a framing package and the framing package arrives and we're short 20 studs, the guy will jump with his pickup truck and bring us 20 more studs so that my framers aren't sitting around doing nothing the rest of the day. You know, they deliver something wrong, they come out to the job site, they remeasure, they take care of it. There's other benefits other than cost, but yeah, I mean, if you price a lot of this stuff out, it's gonna be better than Lowe's.
Y'all have some recommendations for some of the supply houses you use right here in Richmond?
In Richmond, yeah,
Okay.
but you're in Fredericksburg.
We have a couple projects here in Richmond
Oh,
also.
you do?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll put you in touch with some people,
Okay.
depending, and it depends on what you're getting. We're getting roofing from one place, windows, siding from another place, framing from this place. It's all coming from different supply houses. But having that relationship and having a good salesperson there is important because, you know, if you're talking about speed, you order something from Lowe's, they're gonna call you 12 times to schedule that delivery and then it'll never show up. You know, and you're gonna be waiting for it. You order something from the supply houses, it'll arrive when they say it's gonna arrive. So,
So if I call over to Ferguson, Zach's our sales guy, and I could literally tell him, you know.
Get a heat pump
give
quickly.
me a right-hand tub, he'll pick out, you know, the 15-inch height versus the 18. I'll say, give me a toilet kit. So what that means is he's just grabbed me a toilet plus all the parts that go with it, the ring and everything. So what Daniel's talking about as far as speed, you can't beat it because they learn your system. You know, him and I, and before me with Jim, they kind of have a list of what we want and which price range we want. And on top of that, he'll have it on the job the next morning, which is what I find the biggest benefit for the supply houses is the delivery, the staging, and what we just spoke of. The advantage of the big box, the Lowe's and the Home Depot, I mean, they're pretty price competitive when you get right down to it. Also, so if you're, you know, working with multiple contractors instead of one turnkey like we are, which typically has some savings, a lot of it is the staging. You know, if you get onto big construction jobs, there's a whole process of constantly staging.
Materials.
Materials is what I mean. So residential is small scale, but you still have some staging. On the big jobs, you're gonna see lots of trailers. They're staging, materials are coming in, because that really speeds up the flow. Well, on the residential end, somebody has to still do it too. And that is still time, and time is money. So is it my time or is it their time? With a lot of our contractors, once you build up a relationship with them to where you trust them, like that was a whole trust issue with your code there. You know, to have them go to Lowe's and pick up materials or Home Depot, even though I'm getting the Home Depot text-to-pays, if you're familiar with that, boom, boom, boom. Okay, they go to the protest, they put in a number, I get a text. I can see what they're buying, and I reply, boom, once. So it's not too much of my time. Lowe's has to call me. I don't like that as much. But the whole process that I'm talking about is how much time did that contractor just take to go pick up that stuff himself? Besides me doing it, or Jim doing it on a small scale residential, when we're not ordering in 18-wheeler truckloads. Like, it's different when your roofing comes in with 15 squares of shingles. So when they're giving you their prices, so if you're a contractor and you're gonna price this out and you're looking at it, you're just pricing out the labor, okay? Because we're saying we're gonna get the materials, and yet they've done enough jobs for us that they realize I'm gonna be picking up these materials. Yet if you add in that time, it looks like your price is high for this stuff. I feel it's an advantage to us. It does take more time, but it's not so much my time running and getting that stuff. A term I use is getting it on the shelf. On the shelf
Yeah.
means it's up for sale. So I'm just looking at mostly the construction, started the construction phase, and then getting it up on the shelf. Up on the shelf is either for sale or occupied with a tenant.
Yeah, I mean, this one, Adam, is probably 3.5 months, something like that,
From the very start.
from acquisition.
That's a quick turnaround.
Well, it's 3,500 square feet, so
Yeah,
it's a good
for something
sized
this
building,
big, yeah.
yeah. And that's with permits.
So what do you guys think?
Would you
of,
agree
like,
with that,
the
Bill?
biggest-
You think it'd be like 3.5 months? You got, I mean, it's gonna go quick as soon as we get the framing in next week.
So what are the things that you guys have learned over the years that are like the things that can really hurt you as you're going through a project? You know, like your top 2 or 3 things that like, you know, like really take a project that was, you know, positive that becomes negative. You know, one that is, you know, maybe you got over leverage or something, just to like to really,
I mean, for me, one of the things is unknown damage, like you don't always know what's below the floor, above the ceiling, or in the walls. So if you run into a substantial amount of termite damage, for instance, that will negatively impact your budget really quickly. That's one that comes to mind. How about you, Bill? It's a really good question.
It's a great question, and I agree with Jim. Again, I'm looking at more on the construction side, but particularly in this geographical part of the country, there's a lot of crawl spaces. Where I'm from, it's all basements. I don't like crawl spaces. And,
So they can be wet.
yeah,
if
I
you have to
see
deal
a
with
lot
water.
more, termites, you know, like he said, unknown. So for me, it's going to be bad joists, bad foundations, termites. It's almost all water. Water,
Mold.
one way or another, whether it's in the crawl space or through the roofs. One way or another, water or bugs are going to cause you a lot of problems. And then, of course, you get mold, you get all kinds of stuff. And that'll really bog down the job, especially on the end of the home inspector coming back.
So this had a little bit of mold, so we had to gut it. And there was a squatter living in here when I bought it. We asked him to move. And then we had to repair all the framing. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the basement was a mess, so already people have asked us, you know, how is this an apartment? Is this safe? Can this be an apartment? So, to the best of my knowledge, the reason is we inherited it. It was already an apartment before us.
It was a triplex.
Yeah, so I'm sure back in the day when this was built, this was just a full basement for this house. Somewhere along the lines, somebody added finished apartment to this. So, you know, this was long story short, had some water damage, and we all know what all that could lead to. So it's been all opened up and cleaned out at this point, and that's why we opened it all up, why you see it's gutted, cleared it all out. It was a mess, and you can see, you know, we've been moving good air down here. We got the HVAC in right away. So we've had licensed electricians, licensed plumbers, and licensed HVAC in here on this job. So this is the key to the city of Richmond that, you know, I'm leaving open legit just for them. And they're coming Tuesday, and I told them exactly what we had here and why we did it. So we'll have to follow them once they come in. You know, people are asking them, you know, because it's an apartment in the basement. I don't know all the emergency exit codes and such. I'm sure they're going to be looking at that for this door over here, for these windows, and I think we're fine. Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. They'll end up bringing up a couple things to us, like for one thing, and we inherited this drywall, people already asked about it, but they're gonna want 1/2-inch drywall up for fire. Again, 3-family commercial. I don't have to have the dampers down here, I'll have to get the 1/2-inch up above on the fire. There is a little sump pump over here that I've had to mess around with back in the corner. It comes from the outside. I don't do, you know, people are, Daniel, I can tell already, like with Cheryl, they're talking on the cosmetic end. You gotta remember, that's not my thing. They're a lot better than me. You know, we were gonna put LVP flooring down here. Daniel asked about this old manual. You know, my mentality, you see the difference between me.
I like it.
Yeah, right away, I wanted to throw the stupid thing out.
What do you think,
You
Daniel?
know, and they were.
Build around it or what? What do you guys think?
I like it.
I like that.
You put,
You know, it's not up to us, right? It's up to the tenants. Somebody's gonna
Right.
walk in here and love it, somebody's gonna walk in here and not care about it. I don't think anybody's not gonna rent from you because it's there.
I agree.
So I would probably keep it because you're more likely to benefit from it.
Well, the other thing I like about it is that it gives you like, even like shelf space.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look at, you know, space management kind of a thing, I mean, people seem to really be into that these days.
Mhm.
Being able to get like the most amount
I
of
mean-
leverage out of.
I mean, you could put shiplap on that whole wall or do something a little different too,
Yeah.
I think.
And you think those windows gonna pass?
They've been here for years. We didn't do the rezoning, we didn't go to,
Yeah, grandfathering is a great thing because.
It is.
You know, already here,
Now, up north, I happen to own, a while back, a couple of 3-families. I don't know what the codes are gonna be here, but I had to have wired-in smoke detectors, I had to have fire doors. And, you know,
so we'll see.
we'll see.
We didn't replace the door, that's the original door that was there when we bought it. It's a mess, but it can be saved.
assuming you guys are you soundproofing between the joists?
We were not going to,
I would.
just insulate. Think
It's
so?
gonna cost you a little more. So what we do is we put, and it costs money, we put rock wool, and then we use, here I wouldn't do it because you already have limited
Right.
space,
Head
but we
space.
use channels. So we hang RC channels and then hang the drywall off of those channels, and those channels create an air gap. And that helps a lot with the sound.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's soundproofing. We found is very important. Like tenants will leave because they can constantly hear somebody above them. So if I were you guys, at the very least, I would probably insulate. I
Oh,
would
yeah, I've got to insulate.
Here.
Yeah.
So you're screwing the drywall up into the C-channel then?
Yeah, it's
And then that just hangs
a
down.
metal channel that you screw
Right.
into your joist, and
Right.
then you hang your
I get it.
drywall off of those channels.
Right.
But it's interesting because air will block sound more than solid substances. So we do both. We put insulation in, but in reality, if you ever have 2 rooms and you want to soundproof them really well, you build 2 separate walls with an air gap between them. That's what's going to stop sound, more than insulation, more than rock wool. So here I wouldn't do, obviously do the channel, but if I had taller ceilings, I would do the channel.
Good
as
point.
well.
Any other questions here? The kitchen's in the back, the bathroom's here in the middle, obviously.
So this is 1 bedroom?
This is 1 bedroom.
What's your performance on this?
I don't know. You tell me. What do you think I can get here?
Now that I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Have a guess?
900?
Well, that's what you said before, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean,
I'm good with that.
You know, you're going to have a more limited audience.
Yeah.
So you need, the price needs to settle.
So another thing that might interest some that came up, this trunk of ductwork right here, this is existing, even though it's bubble wrap now.
It's a good point.
So you get into a whole mess of other mechanical inspections here. You know, we had a change out, that's one thing, but you have to have a layout if you change the ducts. So when I came down with the inspector yesterday morning, I immediately pointed that out to him.
Because it looks like new, doesn't
And I
it?
said-
But it isn't. It's just
I
wrapped.
said, we dropped this, you know, still hinged up there and wrapped it, because I mean, insulation gets old, it gets crappy. This whole basement was not good. And this is 1/2-inch bubble wrap, and Mr. Inspector, if you want, we can cut it open right now and see. And then I was just open and honest with him. When we did that, all our supply air branches, 8-inch round, this was pipe, okay? And in the process, it was old, it was shot, so we just ran new flex out. And if you want, Mr. Inspector, because it is a change out, it does have the main trunk, but we did replace the branches, we'll resubmit if you would like for that. And you know what? He said, I'm good.
Yeah.
It was just common sense. And I said, we can cut this open. And again, he's looking more at the fireproofing, which
So we passed.
we passed.
Do you guys ever take pictures of everything before you start, just in case?
No,
somebody wants to-
not always.
No?
This was not pretty down here when we bought it, including the homeless guy. You guys want to go to another house next? Is that good?